Look at this highway. The asphalt is split right down the middle, and you can actually feel the heat radiating from the ground. This is Centralia, Pennsylvania. Today, it's a ghost town. No tornadoes, earthquakes, or acts of war wiped it off the map. The threat that emptied these streets remains completely hidden from view. To understand what happened, we have to look at what built this place. For over a century, this was a thriving community. Hundreds of families settled here for one specific reason: the massive, rich deposits of anthracite coal buried directly beneath their feet. The local economy relied entirely on mining that coal. The town was physically built on top of its lifeblood. Eventually, that exact geographical layout would guarantee its erasure. The collapse began with something completely routine. In 1962, the town council authorized a controlled burn in a local landfill to clear out garbage. The fire department did their job. Structural flaw in the pit. The landfill was actually an old strip mining trench. Unsealed fissures in the rock allowed hot embers to slip down through the earth, dropping straight into the labyrinth of abandoned coal tunnels below. Above ground, everything looked fine. Residents went back to their normal routines, completely unaware that a permanent fire had just been ignited in the dark. A manageable surface issue had slipped into a geological trap. By the time anyone realized what was happening, the combustion was completely inaccessible. Beneath Centralia lies a maze. Decades of intensive mining left behind, hundreds of miles of interconnected, deeply buried, and largely unmapped coal tunnels directly beneath the town's foundation. This cross-section shows the mechanics of a coal seam fire. The surrounding solid rock acts like a heavy thermal blanket. It traps the heat inside the tunnel. Instead of burning out, the coal begins a slow combustion that creeps along the veins, and it breathes. The intense heat creates an updraft, acting like a lung. It pulls fresh air down old mine shafts, feeding itself indefinitely. While this violent chemical reaction expanded through the bedrock, life in Centralia carried on. For years, people mowed lawns and walked kids to school directly above an active inferno. This specific type of fire is virtually invincible. It sits entirely shielded from rain, it drafts its own oxygen, and millions of tons of unmined coal provide a limitless supply of fuel. Eventually, the trapped heat pushed its way up. Massive plumes of steam began bleeding directly out of the surrounding hillsides, and residents noticed winter snow melting the second it touched the ground. Then the public health crisis hit. Lethal, odorless carbon monoxide gas migrated up through the soil, seeping directly into people's living rooms and basements. The air inside their homes was turning toxic. The situation reached a breaking point when a 12-year-old boy was playing in a relative's yard. The ground soil suddenly collapsed, opening into a deep, smoking sinkhole filled with lethal gas. He only survived because his cousin grabbed him before he fell completely in. That sinkhole proved a terrifying reality. The fire was physically consuming the foundation of the town, hollowing out the earth from below. The ground itself could no longer be trusted. The barrier between the surface and the subterranean fire had dissolved, leaving the community sitting inside a giant, collapsing furnace. Geologists and state officials eventually came to a grim conclusion. There was no viable engineering solution to extinguish the fire, and there was enough coal down there to keep it burning for over 250 years. The government realized they had to intervene. They initiated a massive relocation program, systematically buying out the homeowners, packing up the community, and physically tearing down the structures. Look at the contrast in this image. What used to be a tight-knit grid of busy streets filled with row homes and local businesses was forcibly cleared and returned to empty, overgrown land. The paradox of Centralia is striking. To protect the families from the threat below, the government had to methodically dismantle and erase the very town they called home. Today, Centralia is a sprawling, quiet expanse. Nature has reclaimed the empty lots, leaving only a few cracked sidewalks and scattered brick foundations hidden in the grass. But the silence is deceptive. Right now, as you watch this, the fire is still crawling steadily through the bedrock beneath those empty streets. The remains of the town stand as a permanent marker of our complex relationship with natural resources. The coal that provided this community with jobs, heat, and a thriving economy ultimately consumed it entirely. We can engineer our way out of a lot of problems, but occasionally we create a chain reaction so severe, the only way to survive it is to step back, walk away, and leave the earth to the fire.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like,